Southern Poverty Law Center does not merely track hate. It systematically inflates it, profits from it, and, according to a federal indictment, may even have helped create it. The SPLC began to publish a hate map that plots mainstream conservative and Christian groups alongside Klan chapters. The map includes Moms for Liberty, PragerU, Turning Point USA, and even Focus on the Family. The SPLC says the map reveals the infrastructure upholding white supremacy.
But in November of 2010, SPLC shifted its focus beyond violent groups and began targeting Christian organizations. A Family Research Council was among the most prominent of that first wave. In August of 2012, FRC joined Governor Mike Huckabee in supporting Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day after the company was boycotted because its leadership publicly affirmed traditional marriage. 2 weeks later, on August 15th, LGBT activist Floyd Corkins entered FRC headquarters carrying a 9mm pistol, 50 rounds of ammunition, and 15 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. According to his later confession, his intent was to kill as many as possible and stuff the sandwiches into our mouths.
SPLC became part of the weaponized effort of the Garland, Biden, Justice Department against the American people. Now, here's what's interesting. The Biden DOJ knew all about it. They had opened an investigation. They were looking into this group. They knew the Southern Poverty Law Center was running a scam, but they dropped the case.
Welcome back. That was from today's House Judiciary hearing on the Southern Poverty Law Center. This is after the Justice Department indicted the nonprofit on 11 counts for things like donor fraud. It's accused of spending donor cash to pay informants inside extremist groups like the KKK through secret shell companies. They went on to divide the country even more. Joining us now, Fox News Big Weekend Show co-host Tomi Lahren. Tomi, it's always great to have you on the show. What do you make of what you heard from this hearing today? Because the SPLC was going after conservative mainstream groups, too.
Yeah, deeply disturbing. Excellent testimony that we heard that shed a lot of light. And I got to tell you, Liz, when I heard the Democrats trying to defend the Southern Poverty Law Center, a lot of them were saying that they were formed to do great work. Well, maybe that was the intention, but it certainly strayed far away from that. And we saw that very clearly in the hearing today and the allegations. You know, it's one thing when we're talking about fraud and we're talking about nonprofits that are not living up to their purpose. And that's been a big problem, not just for this organization, but for many, as we're learning. But it's another when you're actively adding to the divide in this country through fake, phony, or fraudulent means. I mean, when you have hatred and bigotry in such short supply that you have to help create it in order to solve it, Liz, that's a huge problem, and it's a moral conundrum. It's really disgusting to see, truly.
Yeah, I mean, let me just back up. I've covered the IRS for about 2 decades off and on. I've testified twice for Congress about the IRS. This is clearly in violation of tax rules and IRS rules, what the SPLC is doing. Let me explain. SPLC is holding itself out like a law enforcement agency, that it's going after hate groups, right? That it's paying informants. But here's the deal. When they do that, they don't have any oversight groups overseeing what they're doing. There's no transparency like law enforcement officers face. Now, so they went after conservative groups as hate groups, right? They labeled them hate groups, but they put them at risk. So Moms for Liberty, Turning Point USA, Family Research Council, some of those groups are at the hearing. We just heard about that. But here's the thing, Tommy. The SPLC published a report in May 2025 entitled The Year in Hate and Extremism. That included a section on Turning Point USA. They put that out in May 2025. Charlie Kirk was politically assassinated 4 months after that. Does this make you wonder if SPLC realized how much they're putting people at risk with what they're doing?
Yeah, I'm not so sure that they care. I would hope that they would take a reflection and that they would repent for some of the things that they were accused of here. But I'll tell you, this was a big problem beyond just SPLC. When you look at what happened between the years of 2020 and 2024, maybe even a little bit longer than that, when you saw parents at school board meetings being labeled domestic terrorists, when you saw pro-life groups and pro-life individuals with the SWAT team called to their home, being arrested in front of their family. This is a deep and disturbing problem. I'm so happy that the Republicans Republicans and judiciary are getting to the bottom of this, it needs to end, Liz. There's just no place for this in our country.
Yeah, it's poison, right? For both sides, right or left. You don't want to have this poison inside America. Tomi Lahren, thank you so much.